What if I told you that a $99 fitness tracker could go toe-to-toe with the $250 per year Whoop? I wore both the Amazfit Heilo Strap and the Whoop 5.0 for an entire month. I wanted to specifically compare their HRV, resting heart rate, recovery scores, and my sleep time. The results are gonna shock you, but does $100 really give you the same accuracy as this? Let's dive into the data and find out. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Ryan O'Connor, and I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked by this data that I collected for about a month now of HRV, resting heart rate, sleep hours, and recovery score with the Whoop and then the Amazfit Heilo Strap. I've done numerous videos on the Helio Strap specifically and the Whoop specifically, and a couple comparing the two. But this is the first head-to-head comparison of metrics that I would argue are king for fitness trackers. Because with these metrics, you're getting all the data that you are making your decisions on. How much sleep determines how much recovery you get, and in any of these apps, it's one of the first things you see. Whether it's the Helio BioCharge or your Whoop recovery score, these metrics are the holy grail of recovery tracking, and if they're not accurate, there's honestly not a reason to wear them day in and day out. And specifically for the Whoop, there's not a reason to be paying for it year in and year out. So, what we first need to talk about is, I made this what you're gonna call for this test the gold standard. Just because I've had it for 6+ years now, I know for me, the data seems very accurate. My resting heart rate, when it should be lower, is lower. My sleep, I know when I go to sleep, I know when I wake up. I've had very few instances where I thought Whoop tracked my sleep inaccurately. So for that reason, we're comparing the Helio data specifically to the Whoop, and mainly because, one's $100 and one's $250 or more a year. So you just logically would assume the sensor, the app development, everything for the Whoop is gonna be better. So if the Helio can even keep up at all for $100, man, that's a win right there. So how I did this test was I wore the Whoop on the right hand because that's how I've done it for 6+ years now, and then the Helio was on my left hand. I kept those the same throughout the month. Now I quickly want to show you the data that I collected from both of these straps, and then we're gonna go section by section, and I got some nice charts for you guys to visualize how close or how not close these two straps were over the month. Let's dive in. All right, guys, so what you're seeing right now is the Excel sheet that I was tracking all this data on. And I just wanted to show you this to make sure that I didn't make any of this up. Kind of the, show your work kind of thing. That's what I was taught in school, so that's what we're gonna do. So, just you can see Whoop, Helios. I got sleep hours up here, HRV, let me zoom in. HRV, RHR, and then recovery score for each of these individual dates, right? And then I just want to show you how I came up with the charts you're about to see is we got our average sleep, if you zoom in, average sleep for Whoop. Let's make sure they're all checked. Okay, see, so we got the formulas for all the metrics here. And then that's gonna be HRV, we got resting heart rate, and then of course this is the Helio down here, okay? Just want to show you this really quickly, make sure you know I'm not making any of this up. And it should also be noted that I'm not sponsored by Whoop. I'm not sponsored by Helio. Bought them both with my own money. I'm doing this for you guys. I know a lot of people are interested in fitness straps. Hey, and if you can save some money and get very similar quality, especially accuracy of metrics, and not have to break the bank for something like this, that's what I want to help you guys with. And I know the Helio has created a lot of buzz in this space. So that's why I wanted to test it specifically against the Whoop, one that I'm very familiar with, but not sponsored. Okay, the first metric we're gonna compare is gonna be HRV, so let's dive in. First, before we dive into data, I wanna define HRV, because I've had so many people in the comments, people that are my friends, come to me and be like, dude, I don't really understand HRV. They generally understand it is some sort of readiness factor, because I know that's how a lot of apps will tell you, hey, this is your readiness based on this thing. Your HRV, or heart rate variability, is just the balance between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Now, even if you just have biology from high school, you should generally remember that sympathetic is fight or flight. You see a bear, your body prepares you. Your eyes get dilated so you can see better in low light. You start sweating, your muscles, you shunt blood to your muscles, not to your gut. The parasympathetic is your rest and digest. I just had some bomb brisket sandwiches for lunch. I am in the rest and digest as much as you can be. So that's when you're shunting more blood flow to your guts, your heart rate's coming down, you don't have that adrenaline dump. It's a very easy way to think about that. So your HRV, when it's higher, is basically you have more parasympathetic tone. It's keeping your heart rate lower, and it's basically like saying your body's more relaxed and it's more ready to adapt to something like a workout, something like a run. That's why a higher HRV is gonna be a higher recovery score. All right, now that's out of the way, let's dive into this. Let's see how close or not close they were. I'm telling you, this is gonna shock you. Okay, so here's our chart. We got the HRV comparison. Whoop is in purple, Helio is in orange. I mean, you can see it's almost identical. And the thing I really like about this, yes, there is a gap between the two. But with something like this, guys, it doesn't matter if it's getting exactly what it should be. You know, if you actually measured your HRV with some sort of gold standard test every morning, I didn't do that. That's not practical. That's not why I bought this. I bought this so it's consistent and measurable, and every day it's giving me some sort of insight. So if the Helio, what would concern me is if it was going up and down, way past the whoop, if it was lower sometimes, if it was way higher other times. But the fact that it follows the exact same trajectory as the whoop, and that is a plus one, that is a win for me in my books, because with this data, you have actionable insights. And yeah, that's as clean as it gets, honestly. So good job, Helio. I'm impressed by that. Let's jump into the next category, which is resting heart rate. Okay, let's look at the fancy chart now. So we got our resting heart rate comparison. I'm telling you, it's shocking, but here we go. We got the Whoop in red and we got the Helio in blue. You can see mine floats right around 60. Usually I'm like 58 to 57. And I mean, frick, we'll go through the key observations at the end where I actually have the metrics of the difference between them. But this is just a very easy visual where you can see there's not a difference. Like, same thing with the HRV. One is not much higher than the other, and they're both consistently kind of on the same trajectory, right? The Helio it's not the same as the Whoop and then gets above and then gets below. No. If anything, the Helio, as you can see, is either the same as the Whoop or always a little bit lower. And that's perfect for me. I want that consistent tracking. Okay, now let's look at the sleep hours and see how those compare. Okay, so first I think we need to understand sleep, and I'm just messing. We all understand sleep, right? It's very simple. How many hours you get, yes, quality, and there are metrics, and these trackers do track them. How much deep sleep you get, how much REM sleep you get. But really what I wanna know is how accurate is it telling me in terms of hours? Because at least for me, the anxiety that is induced sometimes when I look at the Whoop, when I think I had enough sleep and I didn't get enough sleep, it's just in my head all day long. So let's say if the Helio is always like 30 to 40 minutes below my Whoop, and just historically for me, the Whoop has always been accurate with my sleep, that would really be a cause for concern, because there's not a real way to doctor the sleep. There's not a way to get around getting more. And if it's just missing it, that would be a really bummer. So let's see what it did actually get. Yeah, so as you can see, we got the Whoop in blue, Helio in green. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same story, guys. There is literally one night here on August 7th where the Helio, but you got the Whoop too, right? July 27th, the Whoop is lower than the Helio by about the same margin. And then on August 7th, the Helio was below the Whoop. But other than that, I mean, some of these are on top of each other, right? So once again, +1. So far, the Helio has +3 in how it's scoring all these things and what I would say are the king metrics for recovery. For pretty much the reason that you're getting one of these straps, right, is if you're into fitness, you want to know what you're doing outside of fitness for your recovery, for building muscle, for building endurance, having your heart, right? If you're an endurance athlete, you want to obviously make your heart more efficient. Those kind of things that we're tracking, we want to know if it's working. These are the metrics that are going to tell you if it's working. And so far, it's nice. All right, let's look at the last one, which is gonna be the recovery score. So the Helio calls it biocharge, the Whoop calls it your recovery score. Let's check it out. Okay, this one's a little different, as you're about to find out. So if we look at this chart, you can see it's kind of all over. And honestly, I kind of expected them all to look like this. So that's where I am saying that I was still shocked how close everything else was. And then this one was, yeah, it's just not. there could be so many factors to this, guys. Obviously, I'll just be honest with the Helio. I didn't put in all my activities because I don't even do that with the Whoop. The Whoop, and I talked about this in the last video, is gotten a lot more accurate with giving me my activities. With the activity detection being automatic, it will just tell me, hey, you went and did this, you went and did that. And I'm sure this plays a role into the recovery percentage. Obviously, they might have different algorithms as well for giving you the score. The other thing is the Helio is the biocharge, so it's like your battery is charged up instead of your recovery that's like, I don't know, it's just different, right? For me, I didn't love the Helio. I'll talk about it in my full month review, which is gonna be the next video coming out. I don't love like the battery aspect, how it actually drains throughout the day, because sometimes if I'm about to work out, 7 p.m. if I'm busy, I don't like looking at it and it's like, hey, yeah, you got like 10% battery left. That's, if I have my phone and it's 10% battery, I'm charging that thing, right? I'm not gonna like try to shoot a video or something on it, right? So I didn't really love that aspect, opposed to the Whoop, which is you have a recovery score that doesn't drain. It's like, hey, 96%, and then you have strain. Still kind of the same thing, but it almost feels better to build your strain. So if I'm at the end of the day, I have 15 strain, it's like, oh, I can get like 3 or 4 more. Yeah, it will tell you, hey, your recovery you shouldn't go outside this strain value, right there. So it just depends on here how your mind works, how my mind has worked with the Whoop. Maybe that's why I'm stuck in my ways, right? Just putting that out there. But this is different. I honestly care the least about this though. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, there's too many factors for this, but I just wanted to show you guys this. I'm gonna give not a +1 or +0 because there's just too much going on to be able to compare, but you should know that this is what this looks like. All right, now let's talk about the key observations in terms of the exact differences between all these metrics. All right, so here's the takeaways. Helio's shows consistently higher HRV values, 35.7 versus the Whoop's 31.8 milliseconds on average. Both devices report very similar resting heart rates, so 57.2 versus 59.5. That's really good. Recovery scores are nearly identical on average. So that's what's interesting is you just saw that chart. They didn't look to be the same, but when you take the whole course of all those dates and all the data points, they're actually 1% difference. So the highs on the Whoop, the high highs, and then the low lows, they ended up evening out, which is pretty cool to know. It's still, yeah, I guess I just still don't really have an opinion whether that's good or bad. It's good that they have evened out considering everything else is so close. Because if one was way different, I'd just be questioning how they even use the algorithm of, your sleep HRV, RHR, which traditionally and just logically, those are gonna be what you look at for recovery. And then sleep duration tracking shows Helios reporting slightly more sleep with 7 hours, 17 minutes versus the Whoop at 7 hours and 8 minutes. Okay, enough data. Let me give you my final thoughts, final verdicts. The $99 Helio strap outperformed my expectations, just plain and simple. For no subscription, $99, yeah, it tracked. It was awesome. Like, I'm literally shocked. That I know that's like a buzzword that's like, oh, these are shocking. Like, I am honestly shocked because this is very expensive. So the way I would say it is the Whoop does not justify its premium price with the metrics alone, because you can see it's basically 1-to-1, right? You're getting the metrics on the Helio, which is impressive. Where the Whoop outperforms, where you get, I guess the premium features for that premium cost is the app. The app, in my opinion, is hands down way better. It's way cleaner, it's way more snappy, it loads instantly, it's easier to navigate. When I was putting all this data in, the Helio was clunky to go back to certain days, you don't have a calendar view. There's just things that obviously Whoop, how their price structure generally works from just a consumer perspective. Whoop is having this recurring cost from all the members like me, like some of you out there. They're able to put back into the app development, into future app development as well. I've been with them for 6+ years, and the app has changed significantly in good ways. It's gotten way better, right? The Helio, they're a lot more, it's like you buy it and it seems like it's a kind of a shipped product. They spent a lot of their D&D time, if you want to call it that, in the actual, for the hardware in the app, but maybe they're not expecting to keep updating the app as the Whoop does. Or maybe it's like, obviously when they come out with a new sensor, which I know is a controversy with the Whoop, but you probably aren't gonna get the next one for free, obviously, right? Because you're not paying a subscription. So it's just different models. And where I'd say the Whoop is better is, yes, of course, the app, the insights that you get, some of the health factors, the stress. Obviously, if you got the Life, you get the EKG and the blood pressure, which they got sued for by the FDA. Yeah, so don't do that. If you're gonna buy the Whoop, definitely get the Peak. That's what I've been telling people when they ask. That Peak membership is gonna be the one I would suggest. So if you're like, all right, Ryan, here's this Helio, here's this Whoop, what do I buy? I would say, honestly, if it's your first one, I'd buy the Helio, give it a shot, because it's $100. And if you like it, but it's not, you know, it's not like, oh, this is really good. Like, I really like looking at this. I like interacting with this app every day. Or like you want that extra step above where, hey, I want to tell it that I've been pregnant, or I want to tell it that I've been taking electrolytes, or recently what I've been doing is taping my mouth shut, because that's like some big buzz. And it's cool because I can track that specifically in the Whoop, in my journal. I can say, I taped my mouth last night. How is that impacting my recovery? In 30 days, I want to see if that actually makes a difference, or if it's just some bull crap on the internet. People are taping their mouth shut. I don't know, but I can track that with the Whoop. And for me, and you know, if you have enough disposable income to justify things like that, I feel like it's worth it for me. For a lot of people, if you're just getting into this, no, like I'd try the Helio and see if you can even be, or even if you want to be, is a better way to think about it. If you want to be consistent interacting with a dashboard where, you know, you look at your recovery score, and if you're gonna actually base your day off of those things. That's where I would start, but I can truly say I do recommend the Helio. It's $100 and it outperformed my expectations hands down, for sure, guys. All right, that is all for this video. You guys should drop a comment below with maybe ways I could have done this test better so I could maybe do it in the future, or did it surprise you? Did you think that it would actually be able to hang basically one-to-one with the Whoop like that? It was surprising to me. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions about, what I thought of as I was testing the Helio versus the Whoop, or some of the specific comparisons that, hey, does the Helio do this like the Whoop does this? Any of those thoughts, guys, please comment below. And if you haven't yet, you should subscribe, because my next video is my full 1 month review on the Helio. I'm gonna give you the ins, the outs, the lefts, the rights, everything, right? Take it easy, guys.